Hi, and welcome to Love Most, the podcast with Darh. I am your host, and I am super excited about today, our second episode. Now, when I first thought about Love Most, the podcast as a concept, I saw no separation amongst us. I wanted to connect with people and help those people connect with you. So let me just tell you a little bit more about my mission with the podcast. Love Most, the podcast with Darh is an inclusive platform for those who have something that they do that affects their immediate community or that helps impact the world around them in some way. That includes anyone who has a book, a story, a product, or a service to share, even a podcast or a show. And, so when you love most, you don't judge, you include, not exclude. You receive another just as they are. Now, I like to remind everyone that love is not just a feeling. Love is a decision. Love is an action. And in a world where we have so much bullying, judging, and public shaming, I am inviting you today to, above all things, love most. Now, I have a super exciting guest today, and I can't wait to start. So here we go.
How are you helping change the world around you? Welcome to Love Most, the podcast with Darh, where you are invited to share your gifts and to, above all things, love most. Brought to you by Darh Music Ministry. For more information on how to be a guest, please visit www.DeaMusicMinistry.net. That's www.DeaMusicMinistry.net.
Okay, here she is.
I had to make sure my door was locked so the kids couldn't come in.
It is fine. It's real life, right? We're moms, so everything is going on in the background. I had to put my cats in the bathroom. You do what you got to do. It's fine.
Exactly.
So welcome. And first of all, thank you so much for being here with me today. How are you? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I feel like things are just opening up in a beautiful way, and I'm just being at peace with how things are unfolding, even if they are unfolding differently than I expected.
That is a good point right there. Now, before we start, I wanted to tell everyone a little bit about you. And I got this out of, the books, I took the bio from the books. First of all, you're a wife and a mother of 2 boys. You're a writer and an author of 3 books. You're a filmmaker, an award-winning actress. You are an encouragement coach. And amongst the roles that you play as an actress, you are an inspirational actress for the Darh Men videos. You are also, so you're born in Minnesota, but you reside in California. It says here that you're a smoothie addict, and I want your best recipe at the end because I love smoothies myself. And then one thing that I love about your bio, it says you are a confirmed bleeding heart with a somewhat cauterized wound. And a poet would say that. It's absolutely beautiful. I love the story about you. I follow you on social media, and I've been learning so much about who you are as a person. And we're going to get into all of that. But the first thing I'd love to do is introduce your books to everyone. And don't worry, we're going to let everyone know where to get her books, and we're going to give all the information at the end. The first one is Poetic Prescriptions for Eternal Youth. Let me see the right way here. We're talking about how difficult it is to manage these things on these cameras.
Yeah.
Examining earthly beauty from a heavenly perspective. The second one is Poetic Prescription for Pesky Problems. And the third one, Poetic Prescriptions for Plaguing Problems, Biblical Remedies for When Life Bites. Yeah. We got the camera issue going on. But here's what I wanted to start with. Now, the idea behind the Poetic Prescriptions, right? Was there a need to remediate or help change others' perception of themselves? And did it stem from your own life experiences when you wrote these books?
Oh, absolutely. I was using writing poetry as a cheap therapist, a free therapist. And I would just, whenever I was having troubles in life, I would just be writing to get it out of my system because I couldn't afford therapy. And one day, God spoke to me and he said, so what good is it to write down all these problems if you're not offering a solution? And I thought, you know what, that's basically where Poetic Prescriptions was born, because I like to say I prescribe poetry instead of pills to cure our emotional and spiritual ills. And that's what got me through. And it'd be interesting because God would give me like these poems and I would just write them and I wouldn't even, like, they wouldn't even be something I was going through. And then years later, when I had a mentor convince me to actually show my poetry to the world, I thought it would just be my private thing and no one would ever read it. But he convinced me to show it to the world, and I got an editor who was also a therapist. So when we would sit and do the editing sessions, I'd try to tell him about the problems I was having in life, and he would hand me one of my poems as my prescription. He'd say, here you go, you need this.
Wow,
And
that's
I'd be
amazing.
amazed at how something I wrote years before was the solution to the problem I was in that I didn't even know I was going to have when I wrote it. So
that is amazing. Now, what I noticed is that words like divine, God, prayer, were not uncommon in the books and your poetry, and not uncommon in your style of writing. Okay, so call it Christian poetry, if you will. I also noticed that one of your reviews on the back of the book, and I quote this, the Holy Spirit was certainly involved. So now I think you've already said that when you explained about the book. I was going to ask you if you felt that it was instinctive writing, or if you had made a conscious decision to honor and serve the Lord through your work, through your writing. And maybe it's a little bit of both.
yeah, I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
I definitely write when I'm inspired to write, but there's also times where I'm just slugging it out with my own ideas. But that never turns out as good as when I'm inspired.
It's
My
all a
thoughts
part
are
of the
nowhere
work, I
near as
guess.
good as when I have the message coming through me.
Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to talk about, because this is how I actually found you, watching the Darh Mann videos on social media. You are an inspirational actress, and I love that title because it says so much about your mission to actually do something that impacts people. So I love that about you. But before we go into it, I wanted to actually say happy 3rd year anniversary to the Darh Mann Studios. I know that's today, as well as his 37th birthday. It's Darh Mann's 37th birthday today.
Yep.
And you recently had recorded your 100th video. So congratulations. That is absolutely incredible. But what I wanted to say is I really feel that you are, being an inspirational actress, you are inspiring and impacting a lot of people. And I must say, from all ages. My son, who is 12, watches you religiously. He loves all the videos, but of course we love the videos that you are in the video. And I personally love the contrast between some of the roles you play as well as the person you are. And let me explain why. A lot of, not all of them, but a lot of the videos that you do, you play the bad guy. You know, you are the mean mom, or the woman who's going to have prejudice and all of that stuff. But in real life, and from what I have gathered, just by watching the way you engage with others, you have a very angelic demeanor about you. And I find that contrast absolutely fascinating, because even in your characters, you are real. You appear to be a real person. It's funny, even in the video, in that type of setting, it's not like an overproduced setting. So it really makes you feel like it's real life. But then in real life, you have a very angelic demeanor about you. Give us a little glimpse of what the Darh Mann videos are for the people who don't know who Darh Mann is. What are those, the videos, the actual stories that they write? What is it about?
So the Darh Mann videos are little short vignettes out of life for people who are dealing with situations in life where they're being judged, or they're being bullied, or they're in bad circumstances, and they really just show people how to deal with those circumstances, how not to judge a book by its cover, how things aren't always what they appear, how that person that looks angelic could actually be a Karen, or the person who looks like they could be the bank robber could be the one saving your life. And you just never know. And it really puts every person on equal playing field and equal playing ground. And it's just a nice little upbeat pick me up with all the negativity and violence and the trash that the media is putting out. It's a nice family friendly video that you can watch with all ages and have nice lessons, but it's still like Hollywood quality for the most part, the portrayal. So I just think they're a blessing when people find them. I think they really have helped a lot of people through some tough times.
And I agree with you. And I think that most importantly, too, there are a lot of people who might not be exposed to those type of situations and have an opportunity to actually take a look and then learn something from it. Not everyone is exposed to many of the settings, but it is real life as it unfolds, right? So it's really important to have access to that. If you could pick one video out, 100 videos, there are so many, but was there one particular video, one particular story that resonated with you throughout the times that you've been a part of the 100 videos?
And funny thing is, just last Friday, I put out a video on my YouTube channel called My 8 Top Favorite Darh Mann Videos that I've been in.
Oh, wow.
So you can see all 8 there, but and I'm going to name one that I did not name I don't think I named it as my number 1 in that video, but that's okay because it changes every day. But I think the one that probably means the most to me is the one, I don't know what I think the thumbnail, that gets people to click on the video might be called Man is About to Jump Off a Bridge or something.
Okay.
But the actual title, I call it, is More Hugs, Less Suicide. And my character is on a bridge holding this sign saying more hugs, less suicide. And I got this hater coming up to me and saying, you're not going to make a difference. What do you think you're doing standing out here? Whatever. And I ended up making a difference for this one guy who was going to jump off a bridge. And just the power of love and the power of selflessness and hugs. And I had a backstory that I wasn't the greatest mom, and I didn't pay attention to my son's cues when he was going through something, and he ended up killing himself. So it became my mission to just go out every night on the bridge where he jumped, holding my sign, free hugs.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't know that. I actually watched that video recently, and it is a very powerful story. And I think that many of the videos for Darh Mann, people may underestimate the power of real, right? In a glimpse. And what I love about them is that they're very short, right? It's not like you're watching a whole hour and a half. It is it's a glimpse of life. And if you really put it into perspective, into the right perspective of living, that's how life happens. In a moment, everything could be different. It takes literally a split second and your whole life is turned upside down. I can really appreciate that. And thank you for sharing that with us. You have an amazing fan club out there. I have to say, you're always encouraging others. But, it doesn't surprise me because it really shows in the way that you engage with your fans, your followers, and your audience. I have witnessed you making announcements about YouTube videos. People ask questions. You always respond with kindness. I have never seen you lash out at anyone, and I watch you quite a lot. I watch the YouTube videos. I watch when you announce them, and I'm always watching the way you display yourself. And I have to say, your humility is something that it's really, it almost helps connect people, I think, because people learn from that. It makes you shine, it makes you come across as just the face of being human. Be kind, even though, you're an actress, you're an award-winning actress, you do all these amazing things, but yet you can communicate with people in a way that you are relatable. You are relatable. You tell the stories as they are. You're a mom, you're a wife, you have, what I mean? Like everybody can relate to that. And it's beautiful. So I wanted to start talking a little bit about you being an encouragement coach, because you have I'm going to say a program, workshop, a course. It is all of the above, obviously, and it's called You Are Worthy. Before you tell us a little bit more about it, and again, everyone, don't worry, she's going to share on how you can find out more about it towards the end. I feel that, so many people need to own the path of accepting to be human, right? I think that if people could only understand that, in order to access the blessings, the opportunities, the favors, they really need to feel like a worthy recipient. I really believe that wholeheartedly. There are so many people that are blinded by the lies. The world lies to us, tells us we're not enough, we're not worthy, we don't deserve it. And only if we could stop looking at ourselves in the way that we are told, or the way that we even see ourselves, and look at ourselves from the standpoint of where God created us to be. I think that would be such a powerful thing if people could only access it. You know, in the times that I've struggled the most, one of the things that I've always asked was, please, God, let me look at myself with your eyes. Let me look at others with your eyes. Because if you do it that way, you know, you're going to tap into your sense of worth. You know, we don't get our sense of worth from the streets, from the world, you know, but we will from him. So tell us a little bit about You Are Worthy, the course that you're creating, which will empower so many people.
Yeah. Well, first off, as an encouragement coach, my clients that I work with are people who are mending from a broken past. And I've made it my mission to help people see themselves and love themselves the way God does, so that they have the courage and the confidence to go after their dreams. So what a lot of people don't know is the You Are Worthy course actually stemmed out of me writing this book. This is my story of how I went from self-hate to self-love by finding out what God had to say about me. And I had a coach, because even coaches have coaches. I had a coach that said, don't you have more to say on that topic? You seem very passionate about people having worth. And I was like, nope, I don't have anything else to say. I said it all in these 20 poems. I'm done. He challenged me like, I think you've got more to say on this. So it was like the Holy Spirit woke me up for the next 2 months straight at like 3 or 4 in the morning. And I would just read a page and then write, read a next page. And then I would write. And it turned into like 150 pages, which I was turning into a devotional. And then about 2.5 years ago, I was like, I'd have to turn this into a course. I have to teach people this, because it's so many people are not walking. They're not fulfilling their dreams because they feel like they're not worthy. They don't know that God created them the way they are on purpose for a purpose. They don't realize they're God's favorite creation, and they don't know how to see themselves the way he sees them. They've bought into the lies of the media, comparing themselves to Instagram models, comparing themselves to rich billionaires with Lamborghinis, and it's just all the wrong things we're comparing ourselves to. And then I saw the influx of people like trying to change their outside, thinking it's going to bring them happiness, and the surge of people getting big lips and big butts and cinched in this and all that stuff. And I had to let people know in this course that fixing the outside will not help an inside problem. You know, it's better to be holy than hot, but guess what? You could be both.
Like that. You got to do a t-shirt. Come on. It's better to be holy than hot. This is a t-shirt right there.
Oh, I should make one, because
you're going to make one.
One of the lessons I teach.
One. That is an incredible line. Come on. This is awesome.
Okay. It's one of the lessons I teach in my You Are Worthy course. And just giving people a divine solution if they're in pain and they don't know how to like get the sliver out. Like sometimes in life, they're just hurting and they don't know, like there's a sliver in their hand. It's an emotional sliver in your heart. And we try these outside fixes. We try, oh, well, this area is red. Maybe I should just put some foundation on it. Maybe I should put some cover up on it. Or maybe I should wear gloves. But they haven't gotten to the root that there's an infection there. There's some pain in your heart. And until you deal with it and pull it out, there's always going to be pain there. Yes. So,
and you know what I want people to know? I actually have, and I mentioned this to you in conversation before, there was a poem in one of your books that really touched me deeply. And the reason I will explain to you once you read it why I love this poem so much. And it's called God Knows What I Face. And if you could grace us with your poem, it's on page 5 of Poetic Prescriptions for Pesky Problems.
Okay, let's find that one. God knows what I face. Oh, this is when I used to beat myself up, and
let's hear it.
I'll not betray the same old way. My past is cleansed and washed away. The cross wipes out the dung I've done. He loved me, so he sent his son. The future's planned, I need not fret, and yes, he knows about my debt. My state of health his main concern, and heaven's gifts cannot be earned. He loved me when I was still lost. For me, he's paid the highest cost. His blood washed clean my cankered sin. I've shed the past and now begin to live my life the way I should. Discount those charging me no good. I'll forge ahead, follow the plan, confide in God. He understands. There's nothing that he hasn't faced. He's done it all and borne my place. I'm standing firm, no need to pace. I'll rest. My God knows what I face.
This poem really is, it touched me so deeply, in my spiritual journey. Anytime I ask someone, about, do you love God? Do you know God? And a lot of people say this same thing to me. Well, I'm not good enough for God, or I don't have anything for him. And I think this poem says it all. You can literally come as you are. You can come with nothing, and he'll give you everything. This is what faith is. This is what living a life with God, accepting. If you are willing to see yourself through God's eyes, you have to let go of who you think you are in front of that mirror. Because all of us can tear ourselves. I know I did it at some point in my life, tear myself apart. Forget about the mirror. Forget about the person you see in the mirror, and start looking at yourself through his eyes. Because that's exactly what you said. God knows what I face. He knows all of our flaws, all of our problems, all of our insecurities. He loves us. He doesn't care. He will literally give you everything, even when you have nothing. So
and our flaws and insecurities.
So deep.
I was going to say, and our flaws and insecurities they're not a detriment. They don't hold us back. If we only knew the things we thought were keeping us from success actually aren't, it's just the conversation between our two ears is the only thing that is keeping us from success.
And this is why I mentioned that when you write, to me, it feels like it's something to do with your mission, with the helping people stop with that perception of themselves, really see the way it really is, in the way that God has designed for us. In other words, who you are in his eyes. Our maker has a plan for us, right? And if you tap into who God wants you to be, you take the pressure off of yourself. It seems like it's easier, right? In a way.
Yeah.
Now, I know that you were recently in the 8th Las Vegas Black Film Festival, right? You were awarded the B.O.M.B, which is Bone of My Bone Founders Pick Award. Can you tell us about that experience? What was that for? I know that there was either a movie or something that you did recently. Can you tell us about it?
Sure. This was very special to me because only 2 times in my entire career that spans 2 decades have I ever been nominated for a Best Actress award. And so it was, when I found out I was going to Las Vegas and they wanted me to be there to, as one of the people who was nominated for an award, it was interesting because my acting coach who coached me on that role had just passed away. And I was like, if I win this award, and it's going to be so special because he'll see he's actually made a difference. But no, it can't even be mentioned. But I mean, the amount of difference he's made in my life and my career, and I owe a lot to him with how I'm able to portray the characters in a way that's believable. But we got there, and we had 11 people with us that made this film, and the film was called "The Light Dares to Desert Me," and it was a story about domestic violence. My character was being abused by her husband, and there was children involved. And anyway, when we were all there at the banquet ceremony, and the banquet ceremony was running late, and we were there, they started an hour late, and then our ride was there. We had a limo coming, and so we were like, we gotta go, our limo's gonna leave, we only have this limo for this time slot. So we're just waiting for them to call the Best Actress category. And so they call it, and then I didn't win. So it probably looked pretty rude, but all 11 of us got up and left the award ceremony. We didn't wait. And it wasn't till later that the founder called and she said, "Where did you guys go? I had an award for Katherine. It was actually the most important award of the entire festival." She said, all the other awards are chosen by committee. She said, "This is the only award that I, the founder, felt that you were exceptional, a cut above every single entry, every single actor in the 85 films, that I'm giving you the founder's pick, which is bone of my bone." Mm-hmm. Oh, I started crying when I found that out, that I would be accepted like that. And Darh Mann did a lot of videos on perception and racism and all this stuff. And I went to the festival thinking, am I even allowed to win at a Black film festival? I had those thoughts being like, is that, so I didn't even have any expectations because I thought, well, but I mean, that just goes to show they're just loving, kind people. And it was an amazing experience. And I'm grateful. It's my first ever award as an actress. And
it doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, just listening to you describe them and describe your experience and how you felt. Because I remember I watched a video when you found out what B.O.M.B was, bone of my bone. And this was actually picked specifically for you and that you felt so honored. And I don't think that's an accident because, I see, again, I'm going to say it again, your demeanor is angelic, kind, humble. Your humility is very clear to me. When I first, and I want to give this information to people, even though, maybe if I had a manager, they would say, don't say it. But, I connect with people on social media quite a lot. I usually will, if it's an author, because I'm a bookworm, I will read the book, I'll write a review. I wrote a review for one of your books and I'm yet to post the other two books. And I am very interested in the person, in the connection. And when I reached out to you, never once I felt, that you were like, well, I don't know, you're always so kind with your words, with your connection with me. And I am really super, super honored to have you here today. I really am. I think that in life, when you were starting to do something that you believe in, you need people like you who will say, yeah, sure, I'll do it. I had one other amazing guest in one of my other interviews on Instagram that people were contacting me and saying, how did you get her? I'm like, I don't know. I think that we exchange some kind of energy and that's how it is. We are here to be supportive of others. I think that also ties in with your idea of your platform. You are worthy, ties in well with that, because think about it. If you feel good about yourself, if you have a good sense of self-worth, wouldn't you connect better with others? So when you have this demeanor of humility and kindness and connection, it is because you come from a place of self-love. It is, your course is really a movement in my eyes. I mean, the world will be so much better if everybody felt good about who they are instead of coming from lack or trauma. Yeah. And I'm not saying that trauma or lack are things that we can't even control that. Some of the things happen, we didn't really have any part in it, but we have to heal. That's our responsibility. And I think if we are seeking to get better, to live a better life, to connect with others, we will look for things like that. I've done tons of self-help. I know that you've done it as well. You've been coached. And even when people don't have an opportunity to hire a coach, they can read books, they can watch movies, they can watch the Darh Mann videos. There are all kinds of inspirations out there. This is the time to be, even if you can't afford certain things, there is so much that we have access to now through social media and all that. I wanted to ask you a question about encouragement. And it is that if you could go back to being 14 years of age, and I know you fell in love with poetry around the age of 14 or so. And I wanted to know if you could go back to that time of your life, knowing what you know today, what advice would you give to not only to yourself as 14 or that time, that age, and also young people that are watching you? What would you say to them and yourself as a 14-year-old?
That dream that you have hidden in your heart that seems impossible, that looks impossible, it actually isn't. And all those people that are telling you it's not going to work out are wrong. They don't actually know. They don't know. They're projecting. They're saying, they're putting you down because it didn't work out for them. They're not speaking from an experience of someone who's conquered and been successful. If you look at the people that put you down and tell you you can't, they don't see straight, but
Wow.
at a slant.
Wow.
They do not understand because they've never reached that level of success, because anybody who has reached any level of success will know that all things are possible. So if we really look back and see who the people are that are telling us we can't do it, most of the time you'll see they were nobody you should have been listening to begin with. And I believed so many people along the way, and I squashed my dreams, and I didn't start. And there were so many things that I didn't do because I listened to people telling me I can't, and they had never done it. So what experience are they speaking from? They're not. It may be impossible for them, but it doesn't mean it's not possible for you.
And also, don't you find that most people who have succeeded, if not all of them, have failed many times before they reach that place? So it's like failure isn't what defines your success, right? Whether you can be successful or not. A lot of people who have, I mean, remember the story, I think it's, who is it? Michael Jordan, one of the basketball players was not able to do that shot, to get the basket in, to get the ball in the basket many, many times over until he finally did it. So there is a lesson in that in itself, that we can't really believe the lies. And a lot of people walk around. This is what I'm saying, why it's so important to feel worthy, to feel as a worthy recipient, so that you live your life not from the things that didn't work out, not from your pain, not from something you didn't have, not from lack, but from the place of you are worthy of abundance. Even if you didn't have it before, your past doesn't define the now. I have a lot of people in my age group saying, well, I'm 50 something, so it's over. How is it over? You could start. There's so many people who created businesses and jobs and became famous after 50 or after 70, or, there's so many stories like that. So important to really tap into that. I wanted to ask you about the smoothie thing, because what is your favorite smoothie? Since you mentioned you're a smoothie addict, I'm trying to.
I know. I eat smoothies every day, sometimes multiple times a day.
So what's your favorite recipe of all?
I kind of like strawberry Datorades. It's like medjool dates with some like coconut water and fresh or frozen strawberries. It tastes like a strawberry shake.
Oh, nice.
I like to keep it simple.
Do you add any powders to it? Anything in terms of like protein? Or I use green protein.
All that stuff, but now I just trust that God has made food that He made with the perfect protein ratios, and I don't need to worry about it. I think Americans have gotten a little crazy with their protein obsession, and it's harming our kidneys. People are having more kidney problems than ever.
That is true. That is true. I don't want to. I know there are good products out there that are, to prevent all of that. But I do agree with you that, that we have in nature a lot of good things that are good for our bodies. You just have to look for the right products, to look for the right produce and etc.
Yeah.
I wanted to give you the opportunity to tell everyone where they can find you. I know that on social media, you are Katherine Norland on all of your platforms, correct?
I'm Katherine Norland on Instagram and YouTube. Okay. On Facebook and Twitter, I'm Kat Norland. K-A-T.
Oh, okay. Take note of that. I had the one on the bottom there on the stream. And I'm going to share this link for you, which is, if anybody can see it, this is a link that's actually on your Instagram bio, right? So if people went to your Instagram page and they clicked on that link on your Instagram bio, they get to see all of the things that you do. And one of them is your course, correct? There is a pre-sale.
Yeah, there's probably maybe an easier way to get to that, just by going to katherinenorland.com. Okay. And while you're there, click on course. I have a pre-sale going on right now, and it's $100 off if people pre-sell the course. And it's actually going to be level 1 and level 2. So that would be for both level 1 and level 2. The level 1 really deals with a lot of what we struggle with on the outside. Like I named, how you look is not as important as how you see yourself. You're not the dust bucket you live in. How to make the best of what you got. It's better to be holy than hot. It deals with a lot of the outside stuff. And then level 2 goes really a lot deeper into the spiritual stuff and how to be able to separate permanently, like the fight between the flesh and the spirit, and knowing you're worthy, how do you bring that into real life, creating friendships, knowing God's given you the dominion, the authority, the godlike abilities to create, and really how do you not be a people pleaser now? How do you, knowing for sure that it's not selfish to love yourself, what does that look like? And knowing you're just as important as others. All, very important stuff along the way to our journey of worthiness, because we can let people squash us like a bug if we don't know our worth, and do everything for everybody else and let our dreams linger and die.
Well, I think it's a movement in my eyes. I think that your course is an incredible platform that is really giving people themselves, giving people the permission. You're giving people the ability to give themselves permission to feel loved, to feel worthy, because that is something that doesn't come easy to a lot of people. It's incredible. And be it through their point of origin, their trauma in childhood, or the way they were raised, or maybe it was a mentor that really crushed their dreams. We don't know. There are so many circumstances out there, and it's not to be taken lightly. I mean, I'm not taking the power away from trauma and pain that we feel. Everybody has problems and baggage and all kinds of things that happen to them. But again, it's about empowering people to take that pain and turn into purpose. Take your pain and turn into power, because we have power. We do have power. I think that it's wonderful. And I am so honored and blessed again that you are here with me for this interview. Thank you so much for joining me. I wanted to tell everyone that you can follow us on social media. You see our handles there. Let me put your handle up again so everybody see it. So this Katherine Norland is on YouTube and Instagram, and then on Facebook, and what was the other one?
Facebook and Twitter, it's Kat Norland. But I'm most active on YouTube and Instagram, which is Katherine Norland.
Okay, great. So I will be having a lot of exciting guests here, such as Katherine, and you can follow us and watch the shows, the episodes on DarhMusicMinistry.net. But I just want you to know that this broadcast will be available on my YouTube channel at Darh Music Ministry -DMM. We actually played on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire. We played on other YouTube pages, as well as my Darh Ministry on Facebook and my YouTube channel. So the link will be available. You can share. Guys, everyone can share the link with your friends. If you want to watch the replay, you can also visit my website and watch it there as well.
Darh, can I say one last thing?
Yes, you can. Of course.
I want to give all your listeners and watchers a free digital copy of this book.
Oh, yeah. Yay.
So they can get it by just going to poeticprescriptions.com/free book. So poeticprescriptions.com/free book. And they can download this one.
You got this? Poetic Prescriptions. Say that again. One more time.
poeticprescriptions.com/free book.
Okay. poeticprescriptions.com/free book. People that are over 50, they'll have the memory issues going on like I do. Thank you so much for this gift. This is awesome. And actually, I read this book and wrote a review for it. It's awesome. I actually think, I honestly think that this book should be in every school. Young ladies, this is a book that should be a part of the curriculum. I really do. I believe that you have here such a powerful message about self-image and the way that you found yourself, the way you discovered yourself. And even through the pain and the suffering that you endured, this is an incredible book. I think young ladies should be reading this, So thank you again. Don't forget about making that T-shirt. What is that? It's better to be
holy than hot.
And hey, listen, let me tell you something. And then when you're holy, you're also hot for some reason,
That's
because
right.
I'm telling you, walking in the power with a good sense of self-worth makes you hot. Believe it or not, people tend to be attracted to that, to have such a beautiful energy and a light about you. So I really think it should be a T-shirt. I'm talking about like merchandise for this. You are worthy. Your workshop. Do you call it a course, a workshop? What do you call it?
It's going to be an online course. Maybe in the future
course.
It'll be a live workshop if I get asked to do it at churches or something.
Oh,
It'll
that'd be
probably
great.
be a 2 or 3 day workshop.
We're going to declare right now that that's what's going to happen, because people need to connect with you and see that even, sometimes you're taking a course and you're reading and it seems something like a distant experience, but when they get to meet you, they'll get the whole deal. your humility, your humanity. It's really beautiful. Thank you. I think you're an incredible contribution to humanity. So thank you for being with us. God bless you. And
Thank you,
thank you
Dea.
everyone for watching. You're so welcome. Thank you everyone for watching. Bye.